Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. So you all know I buy a lot of guitars and I basically stay on the lower end of the spectrum. I buy guitars that are beat up, I buy guitars that are put through the ringer, I try to turn them around and save them. But something got me thinking the other day, and that is, what are the tips that you might want to know that I use whenever I'm buying a guitar? And what are the tips that you might be able to use when you're looking for a new guitar for yourself? Let me just use as an example this 1996 made in Mexico Fender Stratocaster that I just bought this weekend. You know, it's in okay shape. It's not the best, but I also didn't pay that much for it either. Now this one I bought on Marketplace in my local area, and I got a chance to go look at it. Now what are the things that I looked for whenever I bought this thing? Well, first and foremost, what does it come with? Does it come with anything significant like a case, guitar stand? Does it have the tremolo arm? How old are the strings? Is it going to need a new set of strings? Just the things that might affect the price. Like I can see that it's missing a strap button, or it's missing a knob, or if it's missing the trem arm, if it's missing a tuner. If the strings are old, those things have to come off the price. Second thing I start to look at, what is the damage on the guitar? This guitar has a couple of dings along the side. Also take a look in the neck pocket, because sometimes on a Strat, especially on this side, there is a crack that will form in the finish, and you'll have to make sure that that crack doesn't extend all the way through into the body of the guitar. Things like that affect the price. Are there any dents in the fretboard? Look at the end of the headstock specifically, those places, the ends of the horns. Anything that sticks out tends to get damaged. Also look at the hardware. Does the hardware have corrosion on it? Look and see if the chrome is actually pitted, or if there's actually rust starting to form. Pickup magnets are also another place that attract corrosion, so look there. Now once you're done inspecting for the cosmetics of the guitar, you will have to start doing a visual inspection to determine any issues with the neck. The issues that I tend to look for first are fret wear. Pull the strings aside and look and see if there's any dents in the frets underneath those strings. Especially up in the first 5 or so fret areas, that's an indication of a lot of play, and you'll have to take into account, are the frets still fairly tall to where you could recrown them, re-level and recrown them, or is it going to need a whole new fret job? And that might not be something you can determine yourself. You may have to take it into a guitar shop and ask a luthier. Now you're not going to be able to take every guitar into a guitar store and have somebody give you an opinion on it, but you know what? If you have a guitar store in the area, it makes a great place to tell somebody you want to meet them if you're going to buy a guitar off Marketplace or Craigslist. Then you have plenty of amps around where you can plug in and test, and there's usually somebody there who knows a little bit of something about how a neck looks, what it might cost you to get a certain repair done, that kind of thing. When you're inspecting the neck, one other thing that I like to do is I put the guitar in playing position, then I'll fret the guitar at the 1st fret and at the 17th fret, pick it up and take a look at it from the side in around the 8th fret, you know, in between your fingers in the middle point, and see how much neck relief is there. And you should be able to see some daylight between the fret and the string in the middle here. And if you can't see any daylight, that's an indication of a back bow. If you see too much, like more than probably a thick piece of paper or something like that, then that's an indication of an up bow. Now does the truss rod look like the nut is damaged or not? Does it look like somebody's already been cranking on that nut and it's maybe stuck in one position? That's something to look for, because you're going to have to correct an up bow or a back bow with the truss rod, and if it looks like the nut is damaged and you're not going to be able to do it, then you might have a worthless guitar on your hands. Also, sight down the neck. And what I mean by that is, pick the guitar up and take a look down the nut all the way down to the bridge, and do it from both sides. So give yourself a little bit of an angle, look at it from the side, and look for a little bit of relief in the neck, a little bit of a bow in this area right here. Then switch over to the other side, look at that same line down the string down to the bridge. Do you see the same bow on this side that you saw on the other side? Hopefully you do, because this needs to be even all the way down. If you're looking at the neck straight on and you see that the bridge is not parallel to the nut, then you know you've got a warped neck. And finally, the test is going to be to play the guitar. You'll need to play it and determine, first of all, is the action really high? By the way, you can bring a string action ruler with you to test on the action. I've got one here that's got 64ths on it. On a Stratocaster, I test the action at the 17th fret and look for 4/64ths there. If it's higher, you could be trying to cover up some dead frets, so be a little bit cautious if the action is too high. You know, you might want to say, hey, I see an issue with this neck. Is it okay if I bring this back to you after I've made an adjustment? See what they say. They might say no. You might have to take a risk, but it's worth a shot. So I already mentioned the string action ruler as one tool you might want to take with you on your visit. Another tool that might be useful is a capo, and that you would use to help you test neck relief. So put the capo at the 1st fret, then depress the 17th fret, and then you can look at the neck relief in the center a little bit more easily. Another tool you might bring with you is a straight edge, and a straight edge will help you determine, again, is that neck warped? Because if you lay the flat edge across all the frets, then you'll be able to see how much space is there in the middle. And you can do the same thing if you have a notched straight edge. Lay the notched side on the fretboard itself and see if the amount of relief that you saw when you looked at the tops of the frets is the same as the relief that you see when you look at the fretboard itself. Another tool you might not think about bringing is a tuner, and that's not really to tune the guitar, although it helps for that, but it's really to test the pickups. And you can plug a cord into the input jack, and from the output jack of the guitar, play your pickups in every position, and if the tuner can hear the pickups, that's an indication that they're probably working. And finally, the simplest tool that I think you should bring is a pick, and that's really because, especially if you're a pick player, you can play all the notes on the fretboard to make sure you don't have any high frets, no dead frets, buzzing, things like that. So make sure you play every note up and down the neck. It only takes a couple minutes, and you'll know whether or not you have any problems. Now, I already started talking a little bit about negotiation. Usually, when you're on Marketplace, sellers expect you to negotiate. In fact, there's a button built in to Facebook that allows you to make an offer on an item. Some sellers say the price is firm. Even if it says that, it's fair game to make an offer. Cash talks, and if you can meet somebody immediately, that's going to help you get a better deal. Other places that I've tended to look over the years, I've looked at Craigslist. Craigslist is getting to be an older platform and maybe not so useful. I've looked at OfferUp. Results on that vary based on your area. Some places just don't use OfferUp as much as others. You can even find deals looking in your local thrift shops and online thrift shops. Reverb.com is another location that I like to look for guitars sometimes, but just be aware that sometimes it's difficult to tell what people paid for guitars on Reverb, much more difficult than it is on eBay. You can even search eBay by distance from you, so you can find guitars that are local to you and go test them out. It's not something that I usually like to do, buying a guitar sight unseen, unless it's just such a good deal that I can't pass it up. Another thing you're going to want to ask the seller about when you're buying from any of these platforms is whether or not the guitar is able to be returned. A lot of times sales are final. That's the assumption whenever you go to buy something used, so you do need to ask if there's any kind of a warranty that they would provide. For example, when I bought this guitar, the fellow said, if you have any problems when you take it home, let me know and I'll take it back. So that's a basically one-day warranty, even though I'm pretty confident after all of my inspection that everything's fine. It doesn't hurt to have that little bit of extra insurance. So hopefully you guys have found these tips useful, and I hope you're able to use some of them to find the guitar of your dreams. I hope you get a really good deal, and I hope you get one that's in really good shape and it lasts you for a lifetime. If you like these videos, please be sure to hit like and comment. I'd love to know where you guys find your guitars and how you find deals, because I'm always looking for those myself. Please also subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate the subscriptions, and I'll see you guys next time.